bum 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 ba-dum bum 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 ba-da-da-dum bum bum ba-dum ba-ba-dum rum bum 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 ba-dum bum 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 da-da-da-dum bum bum ba-dum ba-ba-dum. Hello, my friends. It's Monday night. Monday we do one thing and one thing only. We meet here 8 o'clock Eastern Time every Monday night to learn homeopathy. I'm going to teach you what I know, and I want you to connect. I like to see when you connect with each other. It's heartwarming to me, but it also means to me that homeopathy is moving along. Practical homeopathy is moving in the direction that we need it to move in, and that is lots and lots of families are counting on it and sharing amongst themselves. So, my friends, my name is Joette Calabrese, and this is what we do every Monday night. For those of you who don't know me, and for those of you who do, welcome, friends. I see you all hopping in. It's wonderful to see you, Marion, Pennsylvania. I love people asking questions. How did she give it to the bird, Mary says. You might have been talking about the parrot. Maybe you're talking about the parrot that I spoke about the other day on, I guess it was a week or so ago, on Facebook and some other formats, because I talked about a parrot that I treated. But tonight, my friends, we are going to be talking about surviving the heat. Lot of hot weather going on right now in the U.S. and Canada even, and it's good to see that people know that we can treat heat problems, summer problems with homeopathy. Oh, well, Tara says good morning from cold and wet Western Australia. Hi from Oklahoma, gal. I can get on Joette's Learning Center launch page, but the Mighty's page has an error message. I've been repeatedly trying for 5. Yeah, the Learning Center is down. I'm being told by Perry. It should come up soon. So tonight we're going to talk about heat, and then we're going to talk about a bonus subject for the Mighties, for Joette's Mighty members. So those of you who are Mighty members, stay tuned. I've got a bonus that I've never talked about before, I don't believe. I don't think publicly, and I think I think it'll be very valuable for your summer. Hi from St. Louis. I can't get logged into your Mighty Members site. What do you think, Perry? Is it going to happen? Okay, he's working on it now. Well, if it doesn't work out tonight, I promise I will give this to Mighty members next week. Yeah, there's a problem. It's down. So I'm very sorry, friends. Those things can happen. And so we're going to talk about, I've got some notes here. Let's see if I can find them. I've got some notes that I've put together that when it comes to the sun and summer and the heat, I don't think I have to tell you that sunstroke is dangerous, right? I don't have to tell you that, right? And so people are, I'm not going to go into all the details about how, being exposed, sudden exposure to hot weather can cause it, and exertion in high temperatures, and specifically problematic for people who are taking substances or take substances in, such as alcohol or drugs or meds, and anyone who's had a personal history of sunstroke is then potentially susceptible to it again. But also, lack of sleep can do it, cannot do it. It won't cause sunstroke, but lack of heat can promote the fact that sunstroke is occurring, or could occur, is what I mean to say. Exertion at high temperatures, all that. So let's talk about what we would do in order to prevent sunstroke, and then we'll get into sunstroke itself. And make sure that you're drinking water with electrolytes. And I have to tell you, friends, I've noted that in the last few years, my husband and I both need more water and more electrolytes. And we drink our water with salt or electrolytes throughout the day. And we've noticed that, I don't know if it's our age or if it's the fact that we live in Florida, but we notice frequently that if we feel fatigued, there's no reason for us to feel fatigued. We get a good night's sleep, we eat well, we exercise, and we generally feel quite motivated throughout the day. But if we feel extra fatigued, then we know, have you been drinking your water? Have you had your electrolytes? And then we get each other a glass of water. So whoever's closest to the kitchen gets it for the other. So the older we become, the more critical this is. So make sure that you're getting electrolytes or salt in your water, and drink water throughout the day. And I'm also going to say we need protective clothing. And I say ditch the sunscreen. Now, look, I know. I mean, I'm even tan right now because I do spend a lot of time walking in the sun. And I have never worn sunscreen. I don't even know what it feels like. I know what it smells like. I can smell it on other people. And to me, it smells awful. But I would say ditch the sunscreen and instead wear protective clothing. And I have to tell you that sunburns are not as a result only of the fact that someone is lighter skinned or that they've been exposed for too long. I believe that sunburns, especially severe ones, is associated with malnutrition. So I think that if we eat, it's not the big bad sun. The sun is not closer. I don't think the sun is more dangerous than it was in the 50s, in the 60s, in the 70s, in the 80s. I have to say that I think sunscreen is not a good plan. Instead, just wear protective clothing and build up. And what I mean by malnutrition, my friends, is I'm talking about not enough butter, not enough beef, not enough eggs, not enough bacon, not enough meats. I think that's very important, and it can really make a difference in how your skin reacts to any kind of trauma. It won't be as traumatized. So let's just start with that. So let's go back to sunstroke, okay? It can be potentially quite dangerous, and it can even require someone having to be hospitalized. It can be very dangerous, and it happens a lot to people, landscapers, people who work outside, and the elderly, and as I said, those who are taking drugs, etc. So we won't go into sunstroke quite yet. Let me go to first the preventative. And one of the best preventatives is when someone feels languid, weakened, or it may not even be from the sun. It just might be from the heat. It could be from the mugginess, especially muggy, hot weather. Languid is the best word I can think of to describe this. The remedy is nat sulf. Natrum sulfuricum, nat sulf, 6. It's just a cell salt. It's a nice, gentle little cell salt. And it can be taken throughout the day. Yeah. Nat sulf, 6x. It can be taken 2-3 times a day. You can even put it in your water that has your electrolytes or your salt in it. And for those of you who happen to have gone through my blog years ago, I had an electrolyte drink. And if you do that, if you put that in there, Joe at Calabrese I think the title of that blog was "Ditch the," wasn't Kool-Aid. Well, somebody will find it for me, right? Please find that for me, if you don't mind. I don't know who's with me tonight. Is it Serena? So anyway, it's a specific recipe that includes some fresh lemon juice and a little bit of yogurt, etc. So. Now the next thing, ditch the Gatorade. Thank you, Susie. Ditch the Gatorade. Joe at Calabrese, ditch the Gatorade. I guess I can't remember that name because it's not something, I think it's just such awful stuff. I mean, they have the basic idea, but then they went way too far off the deep end. Okay, then the next one we're going to talk about is for sunburn, okay? Cantharis for sunburn. And I have to tell you that if someone gets a sunburn, we automatically use it. If the sunburn is extreme, we're going to use it in a 200. We're going to use it frequently if it's very extreme. So let's say they're in a lot of pain. You could use it every hour for, a couple of hours at least, 2, 3, 4 hours until it calms down. So Cantharis can be very, very valuable. But one of my favorite medicines is Sol, S-O-L 200. Not easily found. Unless now suddenly it's up on the internet more readily. But Helios carries it, Helios in England, Sol 200. And I've actually encouraged people who come and stay with me in Florida to take a dose of it if they're very, very prone to sunburn, to take a dose of it preemptively. So before they go out in the sun, they take a dose. And if they still get sunburn or they stay out too long, etc., then they can take a couple more doses after that. Okay, now we're going to go to dehydration. They're already dehydrated, okay? Now they're already sick. Could you take this remedy preemptively? I suppose, but I think it's a better idea just to remain hydrated. But if you lose track and you forget to drink, or you didn't bring enough water, then the remedy, my friends, that you want is China. Just the way, China, just like the country, China, 200. And that's a great remedy to keep from dehydrating. Or if they're already dehydrated, it can perk the person right up. So you're going to use China 200 in addition to the water and electrolytes and or salt. Okay? Now I'm going to do sunstroke or heat stroke last, because it is so important that you know this, and I want to keep this really tight. How are we doing? Can we get to Mighty's tonight, Perry? No. So sorry. Well, I have a special edition for Mighty's, so I guess it's going to have to go to next week. All right, so now let's go to heat rash, shall we? Now, heat rash is not quite as simple as Nat Sulf, Cantharis, China, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm not going to tell you, my friends, that these are the only medicines for each of these conditions, but they're the top medicines. They're the ones that I want you to think of first, okay? Yes, Helios has 2 versions of Sol. Which one is best for Florida? I bought them both, and they both act. So, Andrea, that's a good question. Okay, so for heat rash, my most commonly found useful medicine for heat rash, generally, not for baby. This is not for babies so much, because I've got another one for babies. Is Apis, and that is generally when there's prickling and burning and stinging. So it's not itchy. This is stinging, burning, prickly is Apis. And I like it in a 30. 30th potency is really nice. You can use it every few hours until the itching, burning, stinging calms down. And it doesn't have to be itching, burning, and stinging. It could be it doesn't have to be, burning, stinging, and prickling, all of them. It could be just burning. It could be just stinging. It could be just prickling. It could be stinging with prickling. It could be prickling with burning. So just because I give you a list of these conditions or symptoms doesn't mean you need all of them in order to choose this medicine. So is Apis mellifica 30 for heat rash with prickling, stinging, and burning. And it can be used for even a few days if need be. When it gets a little bit better or much better, the person gets some relief, the prickling is backing off, the stinging or the burning is all backing off. Okay, now we can back off with the frequency. So instead of every hour or 2 hours, maybe use it every 4 hours and find that tipping point. Now, another one that I really love for heat rash is, especially for babies, it seems to work better, and I think it's because babies have to wear diapers, and there is itching and burning, and I think that the fact that it's all enclosed, and I did not use disposable diapers for my children. Well, the last child I used here and there, but certainly not at night. I would only use it here and there with disposable, but I use cotton diapers. I use cloth diapers for my first 2 and most of the time with my 3rd. And so, but even with that, because I think that even though you may be buying diapers that are clean, they're chemical free, they might be organic, I don't know. I never trust. So, and I'll be honest, I washed my own diapers in those days. I didn't even send them out because I didn't want the fragrance that would come with the diapers when they returned. So I also wanted my own diapers. I didn't want someone else's once they were washed. So at any rate, I like the remedy sulfur. Sulfur is especially good for when there's a lot of itching. I actually just took sulfur myself a few days ago because I get itchy sometimes out of the blue for no specific reason. I have not been able to tie it to anything. I've considered, well, maybe I've had too much dairy, but I don't think that's it. I think it just happens. And I have to tell you, friends, In this situation, you would know the cause. You would know the etiology. But I have to say, you don't always need to know that etiology. You don't necessarily need to know what caused this condition. That is, trying to find out the cause in order to determine the remedy is superfluous, and it will drive you down rabbit holes. Hi, everyone from New York City. Great to see you. Let me get my notes back up here again. Okay. Now let me also say that there's also, if we know about apis for the skin, I want you also to know about urtica urens. 2 words, urtica, U-R-T-I-C-A, urens, U-R-E-N-S. Urtica urens. And that's when they're raised patches. The skin is rash and raised, and especially if there are welts. And the raisedness is reddish, and there's itching and a sense of what shall I say? The sense of a crawling, like something's crawling on the skin. So itching, there's burning, and so I don't want to spend too much on heat rash. To be honest, my friends, I could spend, and I may even do this next week. I could spend a lot of time on heat and sun problems, because there is so much information and there's so many conditions related to that. So let's go to sunstroke, okay? And as I said, it can be very dangerous. And so the first remedies we think of are belladonna, glenoinum, amyl nit, A-M-Y-L, and then nit is the second word, nit. But my first choice is glenoinum, and I know it sounds like such a strange word, but it's G-L-O-N-O-I-N-U-M, glenoinum. And I've used it for my own mother when she was in the sun, and I thought maybe she had sunstroke. There can be a suddenness to it, a sudden headache with a throbbing sensation. And the patient has a heaviness, a sense of heaviness in the head. There's a lot of head issues that are related to the need for glenoinum. The blood pressure could go too high. Glenoinum is one of our best medicines for an acute situation, such as high blood pressure, sunstroke, severe headache from the sun, etc. So then the next medicine I want you to think about, because you probably already know about this medicine. If you're a mom, you know about this for fevers, and that's belladonna. Belladonna, beautiful lady. And that's when there is a sunstroke there's a lot of redness, and the face looks red, and the head is red, and all the ears, the eyes, there's a lot of redness, and there's a lot of pulsating, and also burning, and there's also a headache, and there's the eyes, the rims of the eyes, the cantha of the eyes, and also the sclera, the white of the eyes, can be bloodshot. And if you touch the person, often you can actually feel the heat coming off. You pull your hand away and you can still feel it. That's one of our indicators for belladonna when somebody has a headache, or a fever. But the person does not need to have a fever in order to use belladonna for sunstroke and headaches that are related to the sun. So the next one I want to talk about is amyl nit. A-M-Y-L, the second word is nit. It's nitrisum is the full second word, amyl nitrisum, and that's for sunstroke, which also has redness in the face. Also for not only sunstroke, but for headaches related to sunstroke. And there is a sensation of blood rushing to the head. The person may feel palpitations of the heart. Amyl nitrate, that's often used for angina, for people with cardiac conditions. So there you go. If there's a heart condition going on, or if they feel angina, or they feel as though the heart is pounding or palpitating. All righty. I'm going to take a sip of water, and then I'm going to take a look at some of your messages. I could go on and on. I think what we're going to do is we're going to talk, I think next week I'll talk about sunstroke, or excuse me, the sun and heat in the summer and headaches related to that, because last time I talked about headaches, it's slightly different. And I really want to give this bonus about regarding one other condition that's super common in the summer, and it's related to swimming or being in a pool. So let me just see what some of your questions are. I've gone through a lot of remedies tonight. Do homeopathic remedies break a fast? Well, I think the best way to take, well, it depends on what kind of fast you're on, of course, but I think one of the best ways to take homeopathic medicines when someone's on a fast is to take them in water. At least then you're not getting the sugar, because I'm sure if you're fasting, you're trying to eschew sugar. But, a couple pills, 4 or 5 pills, may or may not do that at all. All right. Independence, Missouri. Mighty site is down. I'm so sorry. Let's see. What brand of electrolytes do you use? I use Keto Chow. Keto Chow, CHOW. I don't know that it's the best. It's just what I use. Yes, ditch the sunscreen, says Tara. Yes, I put bioplasma in my water bottle. Yeah, bioplasma is not a bad idea just to keep it in there if you're playing tennis or you're out on the beach or something. Yeah, Susie says she likes keto drops too. Element for electrolytes. Yeah, I think that's okay. Element has all of those flavors too, but I would get the plain one. I know they have a plain Element so that it's not so there's no stevia or anything. All righty, I just treated a 3-year-old the day after a long beach day, the day before 1 dose of gelsemium 30C, and she recovered so quickly and so happily. Yeah, sometimes all you need is 1 dose. Watching from my little house in the big woods, says Ellen. Sunscreen gives me hives. Angela, you know what? It's your skin, your body is smarter than the industry. I remember when there was no such thing as sunscreen. It just amazes me that it's so ubiquitous now. Yeah, oh wow, look at this. I had heat stroke a long time ago and walked into walls and then fainted. You bet. Yeah, it can be quite dangerous. Kids do not touch grass, then binge on sun at water park. Horrible sunburn results, a little bit of sun at a time. Yep. I have large white spots on my arms where the pigmentation is gone. Those spots burn and blister within 10 minutes without sun block. Then, my friend, what I've talked about before is Sol, S-O-L 200, Sol 200. It is amazing. I've worked with people who are so sensitive to the sun that they get burned very easily, just as you're saying, and no amount of sunscreen. Well, this person that I'm thinking of, one person in particular, she simply could not tolerate sunscreen. So Sol 200 twice a day for several days is what I suggested for this young woman, and it made a huge change in her life. Huge. All right. So Sol can protect one from the sun. Not always, not for everyone. And I'm not prescribing here. I'm just telling you how I've used it in the past, and it has been a wonderful. Oh, here we go. Carrie says OHM sells Sol. Good, very good. Helios has 2 versions. We got that. Oh, here we go. I learned why the Polynesian folks do not burn. It is because of coconut oil in their diet. My girl is very fair, and I give her a tablespoon of coconut oil every day, and it works. No sunblock needed. Thank you very much, Sketch Temper. Is that Sketch Timber? Yes. Yeah, I think that's very important. Coconut oil, lard, tallow, butter. Yeah, good evening. Let's see. Hello, Joy, and everyone from, okay. Could arsenicum also work for heat rash? It could. It would be itchy. I don't know that I would not be my first choice, but it certainly is is in the contending. Oh, hello, Diane. All right. Hello from DC, says Esther. Please spell that last remedy. So I don't know what last remedy I talked about. Was it glunoinum? If someone could just put that in there, please. What is your ideal potency for glunoinum, belladonna, amyl nitrate when used for these sun conditions? I would use a 30 or a 200. Amyl nitrate, says Melissa. Oh, that's probably the one that was being asked to spell. What are your favorite potency? I use sulfur in a 30, urtica urins in a 30, glunoinum in a 30, sometimes a 200, belladonna in a 30 generally. Amyl nitrate for these conditions? Yes, absolutely. Okay. What potency do you like for sulfur? I just explained that. Wear a shirt, protective clothing, says Noreen. Hi, Noreen. I learned why I got that already. Thank you. Let's see what else we've got here. Good points, good questions. It's wonderful to see you all. I'm so disappointed. I really wanted to share that information with Mighties tonight, but I'll get back to you. We'll do it next week. Someone's asking if you have a history of skin. Should you take Sol 6C as a prophylactic? I have to say, it's a little more complicated than that. Could it be useful? It potentially could be useful. There are, I would think, better ways to do that, to protect. All righty. Let's see what else we've got here. I'm going to check my notes to see if I've covered as much as I wanted to. Yeah, we're going to be doing next week. We're going to go into, I think we're going to do the headaches from the sun. It's so common. I hear it all the time. So we've got nat sulf ailments from heat, especially muggy weather, languid feeling, cantharis for sunburn, but check out the remedy Sol 200. China 200 for dehydration, heat rash, apis, and some others. Sulfur too. And glunoinum for sunstroke, especially headache from the sun. Glunoinum, and also that pounding and anything to do with cardiological. Well, that was also glunoinum. Excuse me, that's not cardiological. That was glunoinum is specific for blood pressure and heat stroke. So what I urge you to do, my friends, is always to read up on these. So when it comes to cardiac, it's amyl nitrosium, or amyl nit, or amyl nitrate. Sometimes it's written, and so it is the key feature is a feeling of blood rushing into the head and the face, and then there can be heart sensations as well. Alrighty, my friends, we're going to dash off. I'm going to go to my gateway group. Oh, Mighties is back up. It's up. Let's go. Come on, Mighties, let's go. I'll meet you there. I'm looking forward to it. Good. Let's go. It's back up. Okay, we're going to switch over.